If that is a certainty, if it's perhaps humanity's first candidate to be translated into dogmatic statements, near-death experience have challenged its dogmatism, creating innumerable areas of ambiguity, fueling a multiplicity of debates, research and attempts at explanation. This consideration provides a conceptual framework for the structural approach adopted in this work, which was born as a university thesis, and of which you can read the full version here, without the censorship to the metaphysical religious part that have been requested in academic circle, in the academic ambient. You have here the work as originally thought, wanted, and written by Nera Luce. Nera Luce. The decision to retrace the main interpretative perspectives adopted to explain the near-death experience responds to the need to reconstruct an overall vision of the phenomenon, thus restoring in all its breadth the ontological dignity to a subject that has long been the object of systematic abuse by prejudice. I consider fundamental the contribution of a metaphysical analysis of this phenomenology in order to highlight how the question of the continuity of consciousness and the overlaps between phenomenological components of NDE and the mystical religious experience intersect with materialistic explanations in a continuous and harmonic way. The end to pan of initiatory traditions is unveiled here in all its grandeur, recalling to itself an idea of unity of all phenomena, and making every consideration reconvert in the direction of Vedic monism. Quote: Sankara, Viveka Kudamane, 291. That reality, one which by illusion appears modified in name, form, and quality, like God with all its modifications, its Brahman, and that is you, Tatuan Asi, contemplate that within you. The multidisciplinary approach and the ontological transversality have proved to be necessary tools to integrate different perspectives within a unifying vision, inserting in the final part of my work the main transformations that those who have experienced an NDE are facing, to recover a dimension of awareness that does not deny to the consciousness the depth of a reflection and a vision on the founding axis of our existence, to recover an idea of ourself that overlooks the metaphysical dimension of the primordial, to use poison as a drug, to engage actively and with absolute seriousness within knowledge in all its expressions, without prejudice, in the search for the keys. These are some of the reasons why, in my opinion, especially in the Western culture, it's necessary to investigate in depth, avoiding both sensationalizations and trivializations on those phenomena at the margin between science and metaphysics, so that even rational logic can corroborate the ontological status of certain liminal phenomenologies and retrace their meaning in a way that is comprehensible to it. The idea that return and that is preserved everywhere. And the one that resonates most in this work is that of a humanity that stretches toward the awakening in the era of Kali Yuga, that is progressively stripping itself of certain mental categories in order to regain authentic knowledge. What is absolutely necessary in this era and in this culture is to allow people to use the tools of logic and analysis as a basis for their own overcoming. Because we cannot expect that a Western mind to understand from tools and parameters that are not those which it is accustomed to thinking and interpreting reality. This strategy is therefore present in a very, very technical and scientific ways, a theme that needs ontological restitution, since the enormous gap between science and the metaphysics, between analysis and mysticism, must be recomposed. Separation, dualism, is just an illusion. Within the what is one. And this is Nera Luce, live from Maison Rouge. And this is the introduction, wrote by me to my book. And there is another by Ernst. So, I wish that it was understandable, but I think yes. And hello from Maison Rouge.